Welcome to game. What? Welcome to Gamers on WOLV TV. I'm Jeremy Bell. Tonight with us we have Jay, Semrad, and Rugvir, and we're gonna do a little bit of news, and we're gonna show a few games in the background. Right now we have Alter Echo, which was made. What was it made by?
Outrage.
Outrage here in Ann Arbor.
THQ publication.
Yep. Yeah.
It is the Ann Arbor game.
Mm-hmm.
For those played at E3, had a pretty good time with it, and we thought it was a nice concept and all that stuff. Maybe a good game to come out with, and then we were shocked.
Drunk.
Am I? Do I look drunk?
No, he's not drunk.
The guy is always wasted.
Okay,
what can I say?
Yeah, we're gonna say. Our producer's high. Also, let's see.
But we can't swear on the show.
Yeah, that's true. But anyhow, we were shocked by the actual revelation that Outrage closed its studios. So, the last vestige of its products are right there.
Correct that Outrage was closed by its publisher, THQ.
Right.
But this is the game that went gold the day before they announced that THQ was shutting them down.
By the way, for today, Rugvir is going to be Jay, and Jay's going to be Rugvir. Just for the record.
Oh, okay.
Let's switch. Ready?
3, 2, 1. All right, what do you know? Hey. Hello again to everyone. All right, so let's go through Alter Echo. Like, you probably know
Okay,
this
I'm
game
playing in the
really
background. Right now we're just running the introduction screen. It's a game about a cute, whiny little character named Nevin. Who,
I'm Nevin. I'm Nevin.
I'm
My
Nevin.
name is Nevin.
Yeah.
I'm
Tech
Nevin.
TV did a funny promo about how often he talks about why he's called Nevin. But there he is in his spaceship.
What's the story behind the thing?
Well, there's this what's that element called?
Fire,
Glue.
earth, water.
No,
Purple
no,
glue
there's
of
there's
death.
this, oh, there he is. There's Wesley Crusher and his captain, and they're talking about the new substance that they discovered on this planet. And there's this evil genius who is
Set him up at a
isolated.
remote research
Oh, good.
post on Proteus, where he's been 3 long years, designing the plastids that made IMS
Plastids,
ready.
that's
2
what
months
it
ago, we began an experiment. to
It's so
create a
purple.
multi-class of supercharged biocircuits. That's impossible. Not for Pavo. He reported success
More than
3
possible.
days ago. Called
It's
the new stuff
inevitable.
Then sent this transmission.
Exactly.
For humanity, I reserve my disgust. And so I have become discarded, separated from the flesh without human
We
body.
send all comments to wolfgamers@umich.edu. Anyhow,
We're back. So yeah, the ecoplast is the substance that shapes everything in the world, and you get to interact with it to some extent. Transform into one of 3 different shapeshifters, and each has his own ability. And
now apparently also that they had this fascination, curiosity, if you may, with the color purple. As you can see, every single person has a tinge of purple in them.
no,
They're
everybody said that. I think it's more of like
it's purple.
It's nice.
Like, okay, except for
I
maybe
see a
there.
lot of
That's
reds
red.
and oranges, and not
That's
so
red.
much
Oh, there's purple. There's purple right there. See,
it's color
whatever.
scheme.
Maybe it was
Yeah,
just like an
all the
artistic kind of
content
thing.
provided on the show.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Well, anyway, it's a great game, and I picked up a copy, and that's I think that's me playing in the background for the first 10 minutes. And if you feel like supporting your Ann Arbor town,
please do so, because even though it's closed right now, there isn't any indication of Outrage like opening up again? Right?
no,
Like,
not at the moment. The guys, some of them were picked up by a number of other studios. Went off to work on a number of different projects.
was there any like weakness in this game at all? Like when I was playing through it, it was.
Some people complained that it was too easy, that the puzzles weren't creative enough. Overall, it's pretty sharp, and the controls are really good. And there's a lot of depth to it, I think.
But there's no glaring weakness where it would like prompt like the studio just
Oh
get
no,
shut
no,
down.
it's better
right?
than any Midway game in the last few years, but
Yeah, it's hard to really justify like shutting down a whole studio just based on like this game.
the
There's a lot of
stockholders were
games that are
complaining
even worse.
THQ overextended itself, and they had to probably make a cutback or two.
Yeah, and like cut off one of its probably.
And remember, Outrage and Volition apparently were sister companies, and they left Volition intact.
So they weren't sister.
Anyway,
companies.
while we're talking about Made in Michigan games, I've got a new title that just came out called VaultVex. If you go to www.vaultvex.com, you can check out a game I did, VaultVex, like Vault.
Oh.
and then VEX. Yeah,
VAULT
it's just it's a
for
puzzle
those
game
who
made
can't
by a
spell.
company here in Michigan called Whirling Chair, and I did the soundtrack for it. It's a lot of like cool electronic music.
How many tracks did you do for it?
5.
5.
5. That's all they can afford for a small company.
Let's see.
Anyway,
Nintendo not doing too good this year. They posted their first loss since, I don't know, 40 years ago.
that's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing, and apparently in reaction to that, they're announcing a new strategy, which some think is not really a strategy, but just
I
doing...
wouldn't say it's a new strategy. What is it?
They call it back to basics, and what they plan to do is basically make games for all ages of players with no prior experience, use prior franchises in new games. I don't really get why that's different from what they have been doing.
Let's see. What is Nintendo known for?
It's not.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why. A lot of people just don't understand what they're talking about, and I think some of what they're going to do is just release like old games, like the Zelda compilation disc and different types of like compilation discs of old games on the new systems or on the IQ in China. The
Tell us
IQ.
about the IQ.
Yeah, well, the IQ is one of the first major consoles to be released in China. A lot of problems there with piracy of game systems, and so a lot of companies just kind of avoid releasing anything there. But the IQ is basically a remodeled N64. It's slightly faster due to faster component technology that we're using today, but it's basically the same thing except for the games, instead of using cartridges, use a kind of like a flash memory thing, and each IQ has a password and a serial number. And in order to buy games, you have to download them at certain retail stores, and they're all encoded for your specific IQ. Not IQ, but like, yeah.
Made to order
For your specific intelligence. If you're dumb enough, you're not going to be able to buy the product.
Yeah.
Made to order games.
So they're made to order games, and you can also rent, I think, games by downloading them onto your card and deleting them whenever you want, but they're like time limited or whatever. But and it's also the operating system itself is upgradable and flashable. So
Upgradable to what point?
just minor like upgrades and stuff, probably minor feature upgrades or whatever. I don't understand like what they're
That
going to do.
kinda
It's
sounds
just
shady.
they have the ability, so apparently they're going to.
Well, I think it's great that Nintendo is finally deciding to take advantage of its franchise. I mean, it's had all these great games over the past 20 years, like Mario and Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
And when have we ever seen them capitalize on that?
Yeah, I've never seen
The
them.
Zelda
like,
name, it basically
Seriously.
died in 1987, I think, right? We haven't seen like a cartoon series or breakfast cereal or 7 different spawned releases on various platforms based on Zelda, have we?
No.
Or Mario Brothers, for that matter.
Yeah, that's pretty
No,
much.
I think it is a great new strategy that Nintendo has. Maybe even re-releasing old games on, like, say, a portable system.
For
Yeah.
those of you who are not noticing, that is sarcasm, by the way. But like,
I'd love to see Super Mario 3.0 on the Game Boy. But, it'd be cool if they retitle it Super Mario 4 Advance.
which would be true. Now wait, the IQ
also-
system that you're talking about, right? How big is it?
It's probably they only have pictures of the controllers themselves, and they look kind of like Dreamcast controllers basically, but they're N64 controllers.
Okay, so let me get this straight. They're re-releasing the N64
In
again.
China. There's no word yet on whether or not they're releasing anywhere else except for China, but that's pretty like a big step because not all the game companies even release anything in China.
America
and
brought McDonald's to China.
Yeah.
Japan is bringing
N64 to
the
China.
N64.
Yeah?
Can you make Jeremy visible? Like, he's kind of transparent every now and then.
Oh,
Can I make Jeremy visible?
Watch this. We're
Jer-
gonna have live making visible.
Up here.
I'm gonna talk while Ruggs is fixing the camera
Yeah.
with Jeremy.
I'm the technician around
You
here.
have it
As well
visible.
as the commentator.
That's kind of cool.
If you go back to him. Ah, there he is.
I'm visible. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Now,
Just
see-
lower a little bit.
As a matter of fact, next week I think we're gonna try to have the iToy demoed live.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
We're gonna
I
have the
haven't seen
iToy live in the background, so when I bump my hand,
That's pretty much the same.
We're gonna be
as
fight. What is it? Do you have the ninja game where you like fight ninjas from the
I
side
don't know.
of the
I guess
screens?
we could try to play Kung Fu. The great thing about the iToy, which is the new digital camera
Oh, yeah,
peripheral
yeah.
that came
Tell me
out for
about
the
that.
PlayStation 2. Great thing about the iToy is that it also has about 15 different screensavers, if you will, that you can just leave on and running. like fish swim around and you can knock the fish around and, you know, smack them around a bit. And
It's just a
there's
toy.
leaves and wind
It's a
and
fun
snow
little toy.
No.
beach balls that bounce around that you can interact with. So next week, I think we'll be running that in the background, and when Ruggs and I get bored, we'll start playing with the leaves or the
Probably
fish.
play.
Or
Now, warning you, it was the funniest thing to see a guy like that was actually using the iToy. Like Will was with us when he was using the iToy.
Our
You
friend
look,
Will.
you look at the TV and like you watch him. Like there's this boxing game, all right, and like there's one guy boxing at you, and you're supposed to kind of like block the blows or like duck and like punch back.
Yeah, you're standing like this.
Right, yeah, you're literally standing like this, and you're watching the TV, and like you're boxing. If the guy comes at you, you duck and like
Oh, wait,
you try
no.
and block and all that.
So it's sideways?
Yeah, well, the boxing game is the only
TV's
one.
over here, so like you're going to be facing this way, so like you're facing sideways, but looking at the TV.
That's the only game you play sideways. Every other game is like
Right.
straight on.
But like watching yourself on TV, it looks like right and like natural. But if you're one of the like side guys and you're just like watching the actual guy who's playing it, the man looks like a complete retard.
Well,
He
it's
looks
just
a
like
dork.
Dance
It's
Dance
funny as hell.
Revolution.
It is.
It's like watching a fat guy play DDR. I mean, you just gotta laugh.
It's true, but it is a really good buy. And how much does it cost?
It's $50 for the camera and all the games that comes with it, and I think they plan on having some future releases.
I mean, speaking of all that, crazy extreme sports.
Extreme sports, action video games, yes.
Yeah. We have AMP 2 in the background, and we want to talk about AMP 2, and then we're going to show some clips from SSX 3.
Yeah,
So-
we'd originally planned on doing a back-to-back comparison of AMP 2 and SSX 3. I'm more of an SSX fan. AMP 2 is more of like, supposed to border more on realism.
Now, are you playing this game right now? Like, are you
No,
play-
that is our
Big Mike?
correspondent, Big Mike.
Oh, Big Mike. Yeah. Our
He
invisible
is,
correspondent.
He couldn't come tonight, unfortunately. But that's him
Right.
playing, and it's pretty solid.
It's. Oh, this is the actual like big.
Yeah, I
course,
like
isn't
that
it?
little wobble bar. I had the original amped, and it was good, but it came out about the same time SSX Tricky did, and Tricky just kind of blew it away. And
Not AMP, is that Xbox only then?
yeah, this is Xbox, and yeah, I think it's still Xbox only. It's got the soundtrack feature where you can upload your own music. It's got a number of different races, and the goal generally in amped is to what is that noise?
It's just coming out from the TV.
Oh my God, yeah.
Music, I thought I'd-
So
Deep is turning into a robot, by the way.
So I did a review of Amped for a company a while ago, and the thing about Amped is that there's a lot of verbal abuse. Like, they really make fun of you, and they yell at you, and they
yell at
basically humiliate you if you can't land a trick, and it gets kind of demoralizing and frustrating for a sensitive gamer like me. And
Wait.
Right.
yeah, I like Tricky because it's not realistic, and you can land basically anything. And
Oh, the graphics on this look pretty good, though. I mean, like the surrounding, like it looks pretty cool.
yeah,
you
no,
know?
the
I mean, like-
graphics look great. It's got a lot of depth in the environment, and there's pretty good visibility. But I'd say it's just as good, if not better, in SSX 3.
Yeah, that's like really easy to do.
You think? Wait, you think that this is just as good as SSX 3?
Jeremy, let's get a technical analysis on the graphics. 30 seconds or less.
I
Or
can't
less.
tell of anything like specific, but the character animation is much better than like SSX, I would think. It seems a little bit more like tactile as far as like the snow textures look a little bit better, like the sun reflecting off the textures looks a little bit more realistic. And
The mountain looks like one big texture. I don't know, dude.
well, yeah, the background is a little
far
bit
away.
static. It's kind of far away, but it's like
It kind of bends and distorts.
yeah, yeah. Looks
Which
like those old like Qtum VR things. Like everybody's like, what? I don't know what you're
Right.
talking about. Well, anyway,
I know
yeah.
what he
So
means.
it looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid as far as graphics
And notice,
are concerned.
notice how all the tricks are kind of limited. That's the thing I noticed about Amped 2 is that you might be doing a more realistic type of trick, but that just doesn't look very cool to me.
Yeah, all he's
And-
been doing right so far is he's just been
Just
like,
sort of the same flips and spins over again.
no, he's been doing spins and then like he's been grinding on the pole. But other than that, like maybe you can like flip this way
I
one
know.
more time.
Of
but-
course, in real snowboarding, you're attached to the board. Your feet don't come off the board.
Right.
Like in SSX Tricky, when you swing the board around your head and then land on it again. Sure,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
absolutely nuts, but
Okay, let's go back to some news, and then we'll come back when SSX comes on.
all right.
Okay, one of the supposedly big announcements from Nintendo was that they were going to announce new hardware at E3 this year, And a lot of people thought that it was going to be the new GameCube or the new GBA, and then there were confusing reports that from Nintendo that it wasn't going to be a sequel to either one of them. So that people were really confused.
Wait, Nintendo's not making a sequel to something?
Not making a sequel, yeah, to either the GameCube or the GBA. So people are wondering what the heck they're talking about. So they kind of clarified a little bit, but they're still it's still like up in the air what they're talking about. Basically, it's not going to be a console or a handheld, is what they're saying, and I think that's a little bit misleading. So because if it plays games at all.
And it's not a console, and it's not a handheld.
Yeah.
But it plays games. Is it a Nintendo phone?
Yeah.
Is it a phone?
I don't think they would. I don't think they would make a phone
they
or
know not to get involved
an
with that
MP3
market.
player. It's a little bit flooded on that market. So
even the cell phone thing is a little, or the handheld.
So I think that what they're doing is
flooded.
misleading. I think it's basically like a console or like a sub-console or something like the IQ that has some weird like feature that makes it different than other consoles.
It could
I
be
guess.
some sort of integrated home peripheral.
Or it could be like the bongos for like that Japanese
drum
game.
For drum game, yeah.
Yeah, like a
well, I
drum.
call it drum game, but it's like called
Yeah.
Taiko Madness or something like that.
No, there's the one.
There
There's
was
one for
something
that
Donkey
game is
Kong.
amazing.
There's one for like Donkey Kong where they have like actual like bongo drums, and you have to like hit the the drums to the.
What do you have to do?
Yeah, it's like
have
a
to-
bongo drums. You go like that.
Oh, okay.
There were like, what are those things? Maracas? Like something for a Dreamcast was like that.
Yeah,
I forget
Sega
what it
did
was.
something. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I forget what it was
It's
called.
called Samba de Amigo.
Yeah,
Samba de
Samba de
Exactly,
Amigo.
that's what it was.
I never played it.
Now the drum game, if you guys can get your hands on it, from you'd have to order it from Japan, but it's awesome. It's these mini taiko drums, and it's awesome.
So
Enough said.
you know, I think it's misleading. I think it's probably just like a console that they're like,
Or just
a peripheral.
or
that's
nothing,
Stupid.
because Nintendo really is.
When did they say
They're
they
in
were going
trouble.
to unveil this?
At
stuff?
E3 this coming year.
This coming E3?
Yeah.
I bet Nintendo caught some real Pokemon.
Hey, maybe it's the e-card reader too, because that's just doing really well.
I don't know. Like this is.
I don't know if
another
anybody
virtual-
noticed,
maybe
but
it's a
I've kind of
virtual
like
Game Boy
lost
too.
all faith in like Nintendo and.
This coming from a hardcore game.
I used to be
too.
a
All I
big
know
I
is
used to
that
be a
when
big fanboy, but now I just don't get it. I don't think they're connecting with anybody but the Japanese market, and even them then they're like they're looking.
I think the PSP is going to be a crushing blow to Nintendo if it's at all successful.
yeah.
The PSP is just a revamped PS2,
The
right?
PSP I hear is debuting at E3. No, it's
No,
it's
I
the
forget
portable. It's the portable
Oh, that's
PlayStation.
right,
It runs
that's
mini
right.
CDs.
It plays movies and
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they're not.
Movies,
I don't think Nintendo will even announce their GBA until the end of next year.
I think they
at the
realize that
earliest.
they're going to have serious competition from the PSP and that they had to retune some of the technology to.
They're
stay on
working
top
on
of
both.
it.
They have like both systems planned out somewhat. They're working on them, and they have like an unofficial like release schedule. But they're just not releasing any details to the public because they never release details until like late.
Until it comes.
Until it comes.
Pretty much.
Now, just recently there was the Japan gaming conference, right? The big Tokyo Gaming Festival. They premiered a bunch of stuff, but I didn't see any announcements about a new Nintendo console or anything along those lines.
So it's hyped up, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. There was also a big PR.
Wait, hold up. SSX.
Oh,
there it
look,
is.
it's the real game.
I'm DJ Atomica, the eyes and ears of SSX for spectators and competitors alike. Broadcasting live from my nifty little sound booth with access to over 262 mountain cams.
That's pretty cool.
So cool. That's 1,003 peaks already.
That's an amazing
Here's
broad.
some mountain info for those of you out riding today. Reports in from Peak 1's high alpine state that avalanche conditions have moved into the extreme. Riders are requested to use caution when venturing out into the backcountry.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
So in the commercial, they had a hand coming out of the avalanche and like
Peak 2
grabbing
is
it. Something.
experiencing the
I've never
right,
seen
that's
that in the actual game, but
That's a
Reports are coming in.
Yeah, I think so.
Throwing riders around and apparently beating up on some of the trees up there too. Oh, watch yourselves, people.
watch yourselves.
Just got off the phone with Peak 3 Ski Patrol. Sounds a bit dangerous up there. There's been a few sightings of crevices and big ice chunks breaking away. That's never good.
You
better be prepared.
Jeez, that looks so sweet. If only it
It's
was...
taken event organizers 2 years to turn this mountain into the ultimate SSX championship. Riders will be charging hard down these newly designed, never-before-seen racetracks where the terrain borders on the insane.
Wow.
Insane.
New events like Slopestyle will be pitting riders against a host of constructs where competitors will snake the best lines through the wildest tracks to perform legendary tricks.
All right, I think that's enough.
Tricks.
All right, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
All right, we're gonna let it play in the background.
Okay,
As
that's
can
what you were
see-
talking about, right? Where like he gets off and like is like doing a cartwheel on his old
Yeah.
snowboard for
Now,
no reason.
once the game actually starts, the demo you'll see is with a character who has, you know how in the game you can boost the character statistics based on how much. Now it's how much money you can collect. The longer you play the game, the more points you earn, basically, and you boost your stats until your character is maxed out. And my girl, I think Elise, is going to be in there playing, and she's at 0 right now on every stat, but at least she can still do some moderately cool tricks. Even while she has nothing going.
Is
and
that really any
no
different
board.
than like leveling up using?
It's
coins?
basically similar, except they took it to such an extreme now. I think every time you pay $250 or $500, you don't just go up a point; you go up a quarter of a point.
So
And
it
then
takes
once you go up
forever?
2 points, the price is double, and then the price is triple, and then it takes forever.
So it takes forever to pretty much upgrade.
Max up one character, but some of my friends who are hardcore SSX Tricky fans said it was way too easy to max out the characters. I said that's because you played it for 55 hours.
And they have no lives. Wow. that's
Well,
amazing.
we can't talk rugs, but the point is
Yeah, we can.
there's cheat codes, and if you really got to use them, go for it, because some people just don't justify wasting 60 hours to develop Kaori, Elise, and Max, and the new little kid who talks a lot of trash.
How many characters are there total? 4? But that's only on the
No,
demo.
there's like 10.
Right. Huh? Talk louder?
Yeah.
If we had an extra mic, that would be easier, but whatever.
See that thing in Jay's hands? Call you audience people? That's a mic.
What are you talking about?
I don't know,
I
he's
have
high.
nothing in my head.
Don't worry, our producer's high right now.
See, can you guys? Oops. I almost dropped the mic. Anyway,
I don't know what to say. Like, all right, compared to like AMP2, what's better with this?
Yeah,
with
we
this
have
game?
more news.
SSX Tricky.
Oh, hold up,
SSX
for
3
the
is
news.
great because EA managed to bring a whole new realm of commercialism into video games. I mean, even the DJ that you listen to in the background is spouting out the name and the album that all these tracks are on, and how to, he's practically saying, go to this webpage to order this guy's CD if you want to hear it.
So this is a big.
This is
promo.
part of the new EA tracks, the EA licensing program, to get bigger names to dump their songs. And basically, they're
Wait,
going to start giving
Dean,
songs to the game.
Can you go to the game for a minute? Just like we did. All right. So, all right. Pretty much the background, same texture. I mean, like it's just like a single. Whoa, actually, it looks a little better than AMP2. It doesn't look like
A little
a.
higher resolution, but the same concept.
Still like one.
It's still 1, but I mean, like it looks more like detailed than like the
So
AMP2.
all they would have to do is do like the old 2D games that have like parallax scrolling with different mountains that scroll different speeds slightly. That's all
Right.
they would have to do. Like
It's so
different
far
layers
away, though.
of like mountains. That would,
In reality, though, something that's like 5 miles away isn't going to change.
Parallax wouldn't happen.
yeah, it doesn't have to be like that like
look at
big.
me.
It only has to be
Oh,
like
yeah.
maybe a few pixels like here and there, but you can definitely like detect that there's like more than one mountain like moving back and forth.
And as you can see, as it is, like you're right. Like so far as the freedom of being able to move in the air is like ridiculous. Like look at that. I mean,
Yeah,
like
I have a lot of flexibility.
whereas before the. What the hell are you doing right there?
That was that's her Uber, Super Uber.
Super Uber
The
move?
double redundant Uber trick that you can do now, yeah.
See, that's just wow. The sun looks cool on that one.
And when you go totally crazy, they leave little particles.
Have like light
that.
streams coming out of you or something.
And it's great. The characters do talk trash with each other, and they have like ongoing trash talking conversations based on your relationship that's being tracked. It's pretty cool. I'd have to say the audio is really impressive, even if it's a little
like-
commercialized. Ow! That's not my fault.
Man, Jay.
That wasn't my fault.
Ben?
That was Ruggs walked in front of me.
Right. Obviously.
Let's move on.
All right.
We'll have that playing in the background.
Bit of a PR mix-up with an IBM announcement of their Blue Gene supercomputer. Basically, not anything different than what we have been seeing. It's just that it's more efficient and more powerful in a small amount of space. The mix-up came when they talked about how the processor they use, which is one of the PowerPC family, the same family that they use in Apple's new G5 series.
You know, it kind of looks like Jeremy's going down the mountain backwards.
Whoa. Anyway, the same family that they're using for the G5 series, and also the same family they're going to use for the new Xbox. And apparently, at IBM, they made some comments about the console being part of the console releases next year, and a lot of people thought that was some sort of announcement or about scheduling or about even a third-party console other than Xbox. But apparently it was just somebody talking. They didn't know what they were talking about. PR people often do say things that don't really mean anything, so that's one thing. Also, people have been like,
Jeremy's sliding into the finish.
No, we're sliding into the finish.
People are like,
oh, it's Jeremy.
People are always talking about like how if the Xbox 2's processor is going to be the same like PowerPC, same instruction set as the G5, whether or not it's going to be easy to emulate it, and apparently that's impossible. It's the same family, but it's also a different instruction set, and you're going to have to create still an emulated environment.
So what kind of problem is that going to cause for the general consumer?
No problem at all.
See, because the tech guys are going to have to fix it somehow.
Yeah.
How much
so we don't have to worry about this.
How much did that supercomputer cost, though?
Actually, I think it was like less than 100 million per node, and that node is 2 teraflops. But the fact that the node is 2 teraflops and also in a small amount of space means that they can buy a whole bunch of those cheaply and make a much more powerful computer for a smaller price and smaller space.
Teraflop, by the way, is like what, 1 trillion calculations per second or something like that?
Trillion, I think, floating point calculations, floating point operations. Anyway, so basically cheaper, faster, smaller. Basically, that's the whole reason why it was the processor that they use is used in Xbox 2 and the same family used in like consoles and embedded systems like cars and stuff. So that's basically that.
Also, for those of you bio majors, the Blue Gene was originally made to figure out how protein folding works.
Okay.
And for those of you chess fans, apparently Kasparov beat
Blue Gene.
Gary Kasparov.
Yeah, Kasparov.
Yeah, but
Same
like
difference.
a regular PC could maybe do that today.
He beat the new computer, the 3D Fritz.
Today? What do you mean?
He played 4-game series and ended up winning.
Nice. Actually, I heard that Apple constructed a supercomputer as well for like 3.5.
The only reason he lost to Deep Blue, by the way, is because the Deep Blue team was there with a team of chess masters, like tweaking the computer in between each match. Yeah.
Jay feels strongly about Kasparov's defeat, but
He's
It
so
looks
good.
so good.
There's Elise.
Anyway, for those Zelda fans out there, if you're still Zelda fans, I'm still a Zelda fan. Collector's edition of Zelda comes out tomorrow, Monday, although it'll probably be a couple days before you watch this. You can get it by getting the bundle with a GameCube, or you can get a couple of new games and they'll send you it free, or you can get it from Nintendo Power subscription.
Now, doesn't Xbox have a new deal too? Tetris Online and Knights of the Old Republic for $180 with an Xbox, plus the online live adapter.
yeah, that just
And 2 months free
And 2 months free of Xbox
online.
Live.
Yeah, no, that's pretty wild.
Anyhow, Game Over's on.
So pick up an Xbox if you haven't had one.
This was by request. The swollen members going out to competitor Griff Simmons.